Say it, her eldest snapped. Apologize to your real dad for overstepping. I looked around the dinner table. Claire sat at the head, silent, her glass trembling slightly. Her children, 17 and 19, glare at me as if I'd trespassed into sacred territory. Their father's framed photo on the mantel seemed to smirk back at me. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I simply set my fork down, folded my napkin, and said quietly, "All right." They mistook my calm for surrender. But it wasn't. It was the start of something else, a quiet recalibration of a man who had been underestimated for far too long. By the time dessert arrived, I'd already apologized, not to their father, but to my own bank account, because I knew exactly what was coming next. When I met Claire, she was rebuilding a life. 2 kids, a messy divorce, a half-paid house, and a heart only partially healed. I didn't mind. I had patience, structure, and a steady income. I filled the cracks, tuition bills, repairs, groceries, weekends out. The kids weren't mine, but I treated them like they were. I drove them to practices, fixed their car, even helped with college applications. Her ex, Rick, appeared from time to time, loud, smug, always late with child support, but quick to offer advice. "You're trying too hard, buddy," he said once at a barbecue. "They'll never call you dad." He was right, but not how he thought. For a while, I told myself it didn't matter. Love wasn't measured in titles or gratitude. But there's only so long you can be a caretaker, the people who secretly wait for you to fail. It started with small signs. The room going silent when I entered, hushed messages on Claire's phone. "We can't let him think he's one of us. He's just filling in until Dad gets back on his feet." Her reply, "Don't worry, I know." No anger, no confrontation, just clarity. That night, I sat in the living room while their laughter floated upstairs, and I noticed things I'd ignored. My opinions dismissed as controlling, our money treated as mine to contribute but hers to claim, every effort I made absorbed into silence. Pain is loud when it first hits. Then it becomes a quiet hum you learn to listen for. In that quiet, I began to plan. Step 1, paperwork. I audited every account, joint savings, auto payments, tuition setups. My name was on every lifeline they relied on. I transferred payments to a private account, canceled joint cards, created personal accounts for myself. Step 2, movers. 1-bedroom storage for now, flexible date. Quiet, professional. Step 3, school records. Emergency contacts, billing info, medical consent. All shifted back to their biological father. I use his full legal name, the one on his unpaid child support records. Step 4, meet with my lawyer. We compiled a detailed ledger of every expense I'd covered since marriage, from groceries to car maintenance, from medical co-pays to tuition, not for reimbursement, but for documentation. Step 5, pick a day when everyone would be home except me. I wouldn't yell. I wouldn't destroy. I would return what was never appreciated. Cleanly, formally. The night before I left, I cooked dinner, steak, her favorite, laughed, told stories, poured wine. Let them think everything was normal. The next morning, while they slept, the movers arrived. By noon, every item I had personally purchased, furniture, electronics, office equipment, even the washing machine I installed, was gone. Essentials remained, plates, beds, memories. On the kitchen counter sat a thick envelope, the ledger printed, itemized, bound. On top, a note. Since I overstepped, I've corrected it. The home, bills, and children now fall under their real father's responsibility. Consider this my formal apology. Next, I drove to the kids' school, picked them up early, and calmly said, "You're going to your dad's." They thought I was joking until I handed over the transfer packet. Emergency guardian, Rick Saunders. By the time we reached his driveway, he stood outside, confused, shirt untucked, coffee in hand. "Where's Claire?" he asked. "At home," I said. "You'll need to coordinate custody again. I've updated everything accordingly." He frowned. "What are you talking about?" I handed him the ledger. His name appeared on page 1. Unpaid balances itemized, highlighted, annotated. "Your kids," I said. "Your debts. Your legacy." He flipped through page after page of numbers he had ignored for years. Mortgage coverage, insurance copays, vacation expenses, gas cards. All costs he had left for another man to cover. And then he saw the total. Pale. "This can't be right," he muttered. "Oh, it's exact," I replied. "Consider this a transfer of responsibility. I'm no longer your stand-in." He looked up, speechless. Behind me, his kids were silent too. The reality settled in. He was about to carry what I had quietly borne all these years. Claire showed up 2 hours later, angry and disheveled. "What the hell did you do?" she shouted. I didn't raise my voice. I said, "Exactly what your children asked." I continued, calm. "I apologize, not with words, but with actions." I stepped back. Their real father now held everything. Contacts, bills, tuition, authority. Rick stammered, flipping through the ledger like it was a verdict. "You can't just dump this on me." "Why not?" I asked evenly. They said I overstepped. "I'm stepping back." The silence that followed was exquisite. Not dramatic, just final. The kid said nothing. Claire's expression wavered between anger and comprehension. Rick, facing the weight of his own failures, finally understood what it meant to carry responsibility. No shouting, no revenge, just the quiet satisfaction of truth restored to its rightful place. I drove away with boxes in my car and peace in my chest. Not triumph, peace. Real revenge is silent. It is leaving quietly, letting the absent speak louder than words ever could. Claire called later. Voicemails, messages, even a visit to my new apartment. I never replied. A month later, Rick moved back in. Bills hit him fast. Utilities, tuition, overdue insurance. He lasted 6 weeks before filing for bankruptcy. The kids dropped out of programs. Claire returned to work. I took a job overseas. Clean slate, no attachments. I still think about that dinner. Their faces demanding I apologize. They assumed I would back down, stay the quiet provider. They were right about one thing. I did apologize. Just not to them. I apologized to the part of myself that had kept giving to people who only valued what I provided. And when I stopped, they learned the difference between dependence and love. Now, in my quiet apartment, coffee brewing, sunlight streaming through clean windows, I feel no bitterness, just clarity. Because in the end, I didn't ruin their family. I simply returned it to its rightful owner,